Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. What a great show today. What a fun show. I mean, when we talk about people having fun in their business that are really making a big impact in the world today, I have an entrepreneur on the show today, a CEO and a founder that's just doing such great work. She's really being very impactful in her business. I love it so much. Her name is Leticia Smith, and Leticia is the CEO and founder of, I'm going to say it in the English version first, Spanish for Kids. So hola to my friends, and Leticia, welcome to the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Hi, Andy. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it.
I love it. I mean, we've looked at what you've done. It's really impressive. Of course, you're originally from Mexico City. You know, you live in the Austin, Texas area. You really have figured out how to teach kids Spanish in a very fun and effective way. And you like to say that, of course, if it's not fun, people can't learn. And you've put together this great curriculum, this great business. Your curriculum is used all throughout the country. So before we get started, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet, Leticia, and tell us about Spanish for Kids. Tell us about the Spanish name, and then we're going to get into it.
Excellent. Well, yes, Risas y Sonrisas means laughter and smiles, which is what we are all about, teaching Spanish to children in a fun way. I started 25 years ago, and when I was looking for materials back then, there was really nothing. And the few things that were there were the traditional book, workbook, and really children don't learn that way. You know, they get bored and then they end up not liking Spanish at all. So I really had a challenge because I did not study to be a teacher. Actually, my degree is in business administration. And while I was in the university, I worked in the Spanish department without knowing that this is what I was going to do for life. You know, it was one of those things as a foreign student, you can only work in the university. I had that opportunity, and that's where I realized I was born to teach. I really loved it, but it was very difficult for me to switch and become a teacher because of the situation in Mexico, which is where I'm from. And so I said, well, I'll just finish my business career. But it really helped me to work in the Spanish department, because that's where I learned more grammar, learned how to explain to Spanish speakers, to English speakers, to explain the language, because you can speak Spanish, but then explain, why do you say this and all this? That's where I learned about it. And then I worked in many things, in advertising, and when I had the opportunity to teach children, that's where I realized this is my call. This is what I was born to do. And I think having the business side of my studies, what I had done, really helped me see that there was potential in this area, because there was nothing. It's like coming in and saying, I cannot believe we are in the United States. But here they don't teach. Back then, they did not teach languages to children. It was more like an after school, which is really what I started doing, teaching Spanish after school, which was great, because then I had like a free lab, something to do, whatever I wanted, make it fun, because the children were tired. And that's how it was born. You know, it was born doing something fun so that the children wanted to continue. And also the parents wanted, year by year, demonstrating that they were not just having fun, but learning. And so that's how we got started. And I did have to read a lot of books because I did not study to be a teacher. I was very fortunate to end up taking a course that changed my life. It was all about accelerated learning, about multiple intelligences. I really identified with this because as a student back in Mexico, I went to very traditional schools and I was terrible in math, terrible. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart. It was because of the way things were presented to me that made me feel like I'm never going to get this. So when I took this course and learned about multiple intelligences, neurolinguistic programming, accelerated learning, how our brain works to learn, I said, it was perfect because it was what opened the door for me in the education and developed what you see behind me. I used a lot of the strategies in that area.
Wow, I love it. You found your passion. I mean, Risas y Sonrisas. I mean, you've won so many prestigious awards. Your accomplishments are incredible. Of course, you've been cited in newspaper articles and you've been a guest speaker and you get covered on broadcast media. Of course, public schools, private schools, homeschool groups, and even tutoring businesses throughout the United States and around the world are really enriching their Spanish language classes with the Risas y Sonrisas, laughter and smiles. Let's talk about it a little bit. We've watched the videos. I mean, the kids are having so much fun learning Spanish. Is that sort of the key behind the whole idea?
Yes, that is the key. And it's also making it easy for the teacher and the parent to have a package that they don't have to go look for things in YouTube and then try to buy things in a catalog. And it's kind of like putting a puzzle together where, parents or teachers get like frustrated because they may find a really good song, but that doesn't go with the vocabulary all the way. And so what I try to do is put a package together that is multi-grade, because language is something that we cannot box and say, this is for kinder, this is for first, this is for second. Language is something that is learned by exposure. So you can have a kindergartner that is fluent, and then, you bring them a program that's kindergarten. It has nothing to do with his ability. So I really designed something that the teacher or the parent adapts it to the needs of the students. I give it all. And you put together, it's like a recipe where I give you all the ingredients. I tell you the secret of how to do it and how the student will learn faster. But you have them all there for you, all the posters and pictures and bingos and the songs animated, sign and sing. I mean, I tried to create something over 25 years. Don't think that this happened like right away. It was evolving as I was creating it. And so it has all the tools so that you are repeating whatever you're learning, you're repeating it in a variety of ways. You're singing, then you play a game, then you connect it to something in conversation. And for all of that, you have the tools. You're always looking at what you're learning, the words, the pictures. So it's kind of stimulating your brain so that you use all the areas and not only one, to learn. That's the whole premise of Risas y Sonrisas. And that's what makes it fun and different. And I think that is another thing that I was able to do, is create something that wasn't there. It's like if you create something that is the same as what everybody has been doing over the years, you can't compete, And when I did this, I think that my weakness was actually marketing, which is my degree. But the fact that I created something that was unique, it was a word of mouth that spread out. A school told another school, parents tell other parents, and then the website that I have, SpanishForKids.com, that also helped, that they found me, But I wasn't very aggressive at, hey, how do I reach? Like a lot of people start with marketing and all that. I started with developing a product that wasn't there, that I thought would be successful, because it's what I would have wanted as a teacher. I think that's one of the rules of my life, is do for others what you want for you, and follow that in most aspects of life. And then this was one of them. It's like, as a teacher, what would I like to have so that I, kind of like I have a magic wand and there it is. I don't have to look for things. I don't have to waste my time thinking of how I'm going to teach tomorrow's class. I have it there and I can just focus on the teaching. And then, your children are going to, when you see those faces smiling and those eyes looking at you, you got them, and they're going to learn and they're going to retain what they learned.
I love it. You built something that resonated for yourself. And then, of course, it resonated for others. You have the great domain name. One thing led to another, and here you are. What a great opportunity to talk about this. For adults that want to learn Spanish, is the way in which the adult brain functions, the way in which they learn, different than kids? Or can an adult jump in with their children and use the program Spanish for Kids so they can learn Spanish as well?
I have had over the years the opportunity to even teach senior citizens, adults in general. And I told them, this is what I do. I taught a group of teachers in one occasion that it was supposed to be a course that was 2 weeks. And I said, look, I'm a specialist in children, and I have a lot of materials. I'm going to use it exactly like I teach them with you. And they loved the class so much. They were having so much fun. I wish I had recorded them because we all have a child inside. And the traditional way of teaching us in school, especially from the past, I think nowadays we are opening that into different ways. But it was like, sit down straight, don't participate, just listen, and so these teachers, when they got to experience, playing with a fly swatter, they said, you know what, give us a semester. And I taught them a semester. And then it ended up being a whole year of Spanish. And they liked it so much because this is the way they learn, with visuals, with music. The brain is something that, unfortunately, as we grow, if you notice in a kindergarten class, you come in the class and you see surrounded of pictures in the walls and all that. You go to a 5th grade class and there's nothing. It's like you are an adult now. So, you have to be serious. And unfortunately, that doesn't work. I mean, we memorize. That's what we end up doing. We memorize things to pass a test, but then we forget it because we didn't feel it in our gut. We need to feel what we learn in our gut. And that's how we retain. This is why when you go to a foreign country, you learn the language because you need it, you feel it, and that's where it becomes so successful. So for adults, this works great. They learn to read. It's not a program that, yes, it is for children, so the pictures are, child-oriented. The music is for children. There are teachers that have told me, oh, you know what, my middle school may think that these pictures are kind of for little kids. And I said, that has to do with your attitude. If you come in and you can tell the students, hey, this is a program for children. Children are learning what you're supposed to learn here in high school or middle school. They're learning it in elementary, but they're learning it because they're learning it like kids. And if you get to learn like that, you're going to learn faster. And I can guarantee it. In fact, right now, since I've been doing this for 25 years, there are schools that keep pushing me because it is pushing. I always say I'm finished, and then it's going like, oh, but now these schools want more. So I develop more and more advanced. And right now, this program for children, they're teaching them to conjugate verbs, teaching them things that are more advanced. And so middle school is starting to adopt it. There's schools that say, hey, you're doing everything that middle schoolers need. So there is no age for language to use this. If you are open to sing with, songs for kids, and you are open to not be bothered by pictures like you see in the back, that they are cartoonish and they're fun, but that's what our brain likes to learn. Then if I show you just pluma, this your brain forgets. But if you see the pen with a little cartoon and it has a face, like I kind of give like a life to the pen, your brain remembers that picture of the pen more than if I just show you the picture of the pen like this,
Yeah, I love it.
So that's...
Yeah, Leticia, it's so interesting because when I was a young man in junior high school or middle school, that was a long time ago, before the age of computers and anything else. I tried to take a Spanish class, and of course it was the old way. It was very rote. It was, here's the pen and here's the pluma, but they didn't even show you a pen. They just showed you pen, P-E-N equals pluma, P-L-U-M-A.
X.
So in today's world, what it looks like is you have this sort of multi-sensory learning. I mean, and you do it very fun. And your background, your experience, your scientific approach to this with your approach really puts young people on the path to learning Spanish and at a very accelerated way at a very young age. Is that the complete idea with regard to the multi-sensory learning approach that you've developed?
Yes. Using this program, you can use it even with, the songs. You can have a 2-year-old singing the song. It's not that they can do everything in the program, but there are elements in the program that are appropriate for any age group because it's music, it's pictures, it's games. What is happening if you see schools today and high schools, they are incorporating songs. They have realized, I think there is a big movement that is demonstrated, that we learn faster through music. Music is so powerful. It's magical. Because I always give the example of any song that right? In the radio, you don't study that song. You just, all of a sudden, you're singing the lyrics of the song that you say, I never even had to read it or anything. I start singing. It's because music comes into our brains in a way that nothing else does, and not only does it stay there, there are cases like of people who have Alzheimer's that cannot remember the name of their children, but then you put a song and they can sing the song perfectly. It is something that in education they're starting to bring it in, no matter the age. That doesn't mean that because you're singing it, you know it. There's a difference. It just came in your brain. So after singing, you have to activate the words that you were singing so that you can recognize that, what you were saying was this. As an example, a 2-year-old can sing the alphabet, right? Perfectly. A, B, C, D, they sing the song, but they don't know that this is A, this is B, this is C. So the same happens with anybody. You can sing, that doesn't mean you know it. So it's very important that after singing, you use that vocabulary in games so that the student owns whatever they're saying. You can show it in any order. You can use it in sentences and the student knows what you're saying. And the whole idea is in Risas y Sonrisas is you start with a song, then you activate that vocabulary with games. The games are divided in stages. So a bingo game is stage 1 because you don't need to know the words, right? You can just repeat with a teacher and play bingo. But as you start getting better at it, we challenge you more to the point where there's a game where you can put all the pictures on the board, you put a magnet and then all the pictures on the board, or if you are a homeschooler, you can put the pictures on the table, you give a fly swatter to the student and, whoever hits the word that you say, they hit the picture, they get it for their team. That is a little more challenging because you need to know the words. And then it's a matter of connecting those words to frequently used questions. So rather than me trying to explain to you when you say in Spanish, what do you want? We say, ¿qué quieres? ¿Qué quieres? In high school, they may say, no, verb querer is a third stem verb, it's an irregular verb, stem change. They complicate the because it's grammar, right? They focus on, and so they don't teach you how to say, what do you want? Because it's an irregular verb. I don't care about that. I just teach you how to say, what do you want? I want. And then you connect vocabulary to that. What do you want? I want the pencil. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is, and then you just learn the pattern. What is my is? And you're just putting new vocabulary to that. What is your name? What is your nationality? What is your favorite food? So learning to say what is my is what's important. And then later, when the students know they feel comfortable speaking, then you can bring grammar later. They need to say it. They need to feel comfortable saying things before you start in grammar. And unfortunately, in high school, many times they try to explain everything with rules, with grammar, and your brain shuts off to that. You just learn it for the test and forget it. So it's very complete because after you do the questions, then these vocabulary and questions come together in either a skit or a comic. And that's where you see the students acting. So now comes acting. When they get to that point, it's what now the buzzword is, what is it? I even forget it, but they use it a lot, comprehensible input. It sounds really fancy. But when you get to that, it's because most of what you're saying, students get it either by acting the word or because they already learned it before and you put it in your skit or the comic, and it makes it easy for them to follow because they know most of these things. And we have a lot of examples in our YouTube channel. I don't like to just say, hey, this works. I like to show you with either homeschoolers or students how this is done and how what they're doing and saying, it's just very natural. It didn't take a lot of drilling and you have to memorize this and do this and write it 100 times. No, it just came natural, like we learn our own language, right? That's the whole idea.
So fun. I mean, you're gaining so much success, so much traction. You have teacher materials, student materials. Let's talk about it though. So a school district hears about this. Obviously, it's, everybody's talking about it. When they reach out to you, what does the conversation sound like with a school or a school district? Are they buying the entire program for the entire district? How do the teachers learn the curriculum, or is it just a package that gets sent and then they sort of work their way through it?
Well, throughout the years, I have been very receptive to what teachers tell me they need. And obviously, one of the important things nowadays is technology, right? So I started back in 2007 or so with a CD-ROM, and I thought I was done. I always think that I'm done. I say, that's it, I'm done. But what happens is the technology pushes you. So if you don't move from CD-ROM to next was, Flash. So now you could do it in the computer with Flash. And I thought I was done. I said, I'm done, okay. But then it's like, move to the next. So I always keep thinking that I'm done, but I always try to get to what the schools need. And so we are the last years, I have been focusing more on the online program. That is because the printed materials is how I got started. And I used to only sell to schools. But then homeschoolers start saying, hey, can you sell us the book? Can you sell us the workbooks? And that's what gave me the idea, homeschoolers need this. So I made the exact same school program in a miniature version. So it's the small version of the school program. You have your little posters, your little cards, to do the same with your kids, to where they're not just doing digital. That's what's happening today. Today, the easy path for a lot of companies is let's just do digital. And they may spend a lot in the digital, but I personally believe that children need to see each other in the eyes, to play with each other, not just in the computer, because they do that already anyways at home. They're not going outside as they used to. So I am from the old generation. So I like to play. I like to have the kids, get excited about playing with each other and not just with a computer. But I had to bring technology up to a higher level. So as I was doing this, all of a sudden it's like, oh, now you have the digital. And not only that, you're starting to provide reports where the teacher can see what the students are doing. The teachers can do quizzes. All these things were things that I didn't used to have. I only had the print. But the fact that, hey, can you do this? Like right now, they're telling me, what's next? What are you going to do for middle school? So they're pushing me to create the part where it's going to be a little more advanced and more rich for the middle school. But that's what has happened in my company. It's a very small company. Don't think that it's a lot of people helping me. So it's been a slow process. I have taken my time, but I have tried to do it the best I can. And with innovation, something that is not just going to be the same as what's already there. I try to bring ideas that are unique. That's how I use my conjugations. That's how I use the way I explain pronunciation or the masculine, feminine. If you look in the back, my words that are masculine are blue. The ones that are feminine are pink. So that's a very unique thing that, immediately students know that this I'm going to say el, this one I'm going to say la. I tell them a story. I mean, that is what has allowed me to grow with more than just one type of customer. So I do sell to schools, lots of private schools. All of a sudden, school districts started. I presented in Georgia in 2015, and they loved the program. And then they used it in Georgia, and then in Australia. And I have to pinch myself, honestly, when these things happen, because they just happen because of what I created, more than, like I said, being the aggressive marketer, trying to do a lot. It just happens, I follow another quote that I even have it in my book that is from Pablo Coelho, which is a Brazilian writer. And it says, when you follow your dream and pursue your personal legend, the whole universe conspires to help you achieve it. And that's all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, it's coming to me, so it's very exciting. There's times when I want to give up because it gets very tiring, and doing the manual over and over, because every time you make a change, you have to update and you have to change, and it has like a domino effect. So I have to do the video again. I have to do the marketing again. But then the end result is so gratifying that it's worth it to me.
I love it. I love it so much. You've done such a great job throughout the years. Of course, SpanishForKids.com. I mean, even before meeting you, I would run into that website around the world when I was looking at Spanish. So congratulations on that. Risas y Sonrisas. It's fantastic. Now, before I let you go, and you're doing such great work. I mean, you've got the book and everything else going on. Congratulations on your entrepreneurial journey. Let's talk to the entrepreneurs that are maybe having a tough time. Maybe they're having a little challenge in their business. And maybe you could share some insight as a fellow entrepreneur about what it takes to keep on pushing when times get tough.
Okay. Well, first is find your gift. What is it that you're good at? If you have something that you really are good at, it's going to be easy for you to share it, to give it away. I think when you think, like I say, what would I do for others that I would like for me? And you do that, it's just the logic thing that happens is that people like that and they perceive it. When you're only thinking about money, I think that you're going to, unless you really have the other side, because money does come when you do things right. But if that is your only goal and you forget the service to others, because a lot of what I did for many years was volunteer. I was volunteering schools. That was like my lab. I was doing it for the passion of it. And when you do things like that, little by little, you find your niche. You find this is what I need to do. And I think, and that's what has led me to what I believe has been success, because it's only my family that we have done this. I have my illustrator, I orchestrate most of the people that have helped the program, but it is trying to keep it to where I can manage it. I know this could get huge, but then I would need somebody to kind of come in and say, we'll do that, because I honestly prefer to stay small and give the good service that I give than to grow so big that then you lose yourself. And I'm getting there. I'm getting to that point where I say I really need a team that knows the other side, that can take this and push it to wherever it needs to go. But so far, I think you always have to keep it true and real to you, to be happy, to combine in a balance. Not doing so much that you're overwhelmed, making a lot of money, but then you don't have time for you. So it's kind of a balance of happiness. It's you found what you do, keep it in balance until you get your team to help you do the rest. And that's
love
what
it, Leticia. I love it. Now, before I let you go, and I thank you so much for cutting out some time for us today. You're doing such a great job for Spanish for Kids. We love it so much. I want you to summarize what you just said, but I want you to do it in Spanish for us, for the Spanish speakers watching the show.
Sigue tu corazón. Follow your heart. Sigue tu corazón y da lo mejor de ti. Give the best of you. It's usually that is going to take you to a good place when you're not just thinking of you, you're thinking of others, how to help others. So comparte. Comparte means share.
Love it. Love it so much, Leticia. Well, it's been great to have you on the show. I've been waiting to have you on. You're doing such great work. Your program is so immersive and so effective. And congratulations on all the teaching aids and the tools and the way in which you're able through your system to accelerate the learning process. The curriculums are incredible. You're all over the world now. So Leticia, thanks so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Gracias, Andy. I hope you give me the opportunity to teach you Spanish with Risas y Sonrisas. And go to SpanishForKids.com. That's where the website and most of the information is. So I hope that I have that chance, and I'll be happy to do it.